I'm sorry, eulogy. I know. I've given many eulogies. I understand. Oh wait, your guy's alive.
Baby.
Okay. Guy's alive.
Tim.
So
Tim.
This is the salute to.
Put the microphone closer.
I'm sorry.
Put the microphone closer.
Like you can't hear me in this space?
No. Have you forgotten how to project?
Oh, we can hear him. Anyway, this is a salute to Bill McConnell, one of my Bill McMillin, one of my favorite people. Okay, enough silliness, and in the words of the
Oh God! You cut off the bottom there.
In the words of a great comedic prophet, let's get serious about comedy. Okay, Bill McMillin, big man, big smile, big laugh, big personality, big heart. I have known Bill for almost 46 years, and I have considered him my best friend for almost 45 years. I don't know if that's reciprocated on Bill's part, but on my part, I've considered him my best friend for more than 45 years. In the autumn of 1976, on the second or third day I was on the St. Ed's campus, I went to Bill's dorm room. I don't know why I went to Bill's dorm room. I met Bill, and I met his then roommate, Vincent Price. Not the Vincent Price, just someone who was stealing his name. But I don't really remember why I was in Bill's dorm room or what we talked about or anything. I just know it was a short conversation. I left the dorm room, went out in the hall, and thought, I don't like him. Our paths didn't cross much in the autumn of 1976, but in the spring of 1977, we auditioned for, and we got into Barfo and his To Be Announced Players, which was a comedy troupe here on campus, started by Jeff Feldman. And that's when I got to know the real Bill. That's when I got to discover that Bill was really a very gifted comedic actor. Now, in a comedy troupe, you all have your bag of tricks, whether it's a bunch of character voices or whatever it is like that, and we all had our character voices, our suitcase full of character voices. But Bill had something more interesting than that. Bill had a catalog of sound effects that he could make with his voice. The entire Warner Brothers cartoon catalog of sound effects could come out of that man's mouth. Now, the only one that I can do to this day is But if you were to talk to Bill, believe me, there are about, scores and scores more of those that he could actually reproduce for you in front of your eyes. Now, in those days, Barfo, the comedy troupe, was about 25% original material and about 75% stuff that we stole from other people. Monty Python, SNL, Bob and Ray, Ernie Kovacs, anything like that. There was also, I remember in the first couple of shows, we take an old joke and we turn it into a sketch. Now, the only one that comes to my mind here, and I don't even remember the setup of the joke, but I do remember the punchline, and you probably will too, but the punchline was, well, what did your father do before he died? And then the other actor would plus his chest, take a heart attack, and land on the floor. And I found out actually when we were doing this sketch that Bill's father actually had died of a heart attack. Well. At the end of May of 1977, Bill and I became roommates. And for the next 33 months, until the end of December 1979, Bill and I were roomies. Sometimes there were 3 people in the apartment, sometimes there were 4, but there were always at least 2, and that was Bill and I. Now, living with Bill, I learned a few more things about him. I learned that he was a Greek. I learned that he was a list maker. I learned that he was very organized. Back in the day, he was a bit of a Romeo. Bill introduced me to Jethro Tull and Frank Zappa. Watch out where the Huskies go, don't you eat that yellow snow. I introduced ELO and Mr. Blue Sky. Now, I know if you're a real rock and roller, that doesn't really quite even itself out, but what can I say? It was the 70s. At the end of summer stock of 1977, an interesting incident happened with Bill and I. As I recall, we were getting ready to leave our apartment and we were in a hurry. I think we were late getting somewhere, which for those of you who know Bill know what an anomaly that is, because this is a gentleman who is never late for anything. Whether it's an appointment, whether it's a meeting, he's always there before time. But for some reason we were running late. I don't know what was going on. I don't really know where we were going. But as we were just about to get out of the apartment, there was a knock at the door. And we opened the door and there was a young man standing there he was selling magazine subscriptions. Now, even though we were in a hurry, we thought, well, we'll listen to his spiel for a few seconds and see what goes on here for a little while. So we did. And then we started to go out the door and kind of ushered him down the sidewalk. He was still talking, he was still going through his whole sales pitch, though I'm sure he could see by that time that, the sale was flying away from him. He was not going to put this one. But we got out to an intersection of the sidewalks when we were about ready to turn one way, and he said, I know guys, you may look at these magazine subscriptions, and you may say that, there's not one on here for me, but you don't have to get one for yourself, you could get one for your mother, your dad, your cousins, your brothers, grandparents, friends, all it depends upon is, what their hobbies are, what they're interested in, or what they do. And then he turned to Bill and he said, like, for instance, what does your father do for a living? And Bill said, well, my father's dead. Now, at that moment, I think Bill and I both thought the odds were astronomical that the next thing out of this young man's mouth would be, well, what did your father do before? Smile started to play around her. Quickly turned into a smirk, and then eventually a bit of a giggle again. I thought, wow, the ball's in Bill's court. Will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? And the pause and the pregnant pause got a little longer and longer. Will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? And I turned to Bill, and we both just burst into laughter. Cacophonies of laughter, big belly laugh. And somewhere in that cacophony of laughter, Bill got the sentence out, well, actually, my father was an architect. And continuing laughter, we went on our merry way down the sidewalk, leaving this poor guy standing there with kind of a befuddled look on his face, probably wondering, well, what the hell was that all about? When I was asked to speak this evening, I contacted a couple of Bill's former classmates and said, so what do you remember about Bill? What comes to mind that I might mention in this salute to Bill? And one of our former classmates, Will Casey is an actor, director. He teaches college theater up in Chicago. And Will said something that I had not thought about, but as soon as he said it, it was like, God, what a room. What Will mentioned was the great relationship that Bill had with Peter O'Rourke. Peter O'Rourke was our freshman year the technical director, and then he became the director of theater. And I think what Mr. O saw in Bill was a kindred spirit. I think he saw a young man who might have been somewhat like him when he was first starting out. Yes, Bill was a theater major, but his emphasis wasn't in acting. He wanted to work behind the scenes. And Mr. O recognized in Bill early on, this is an extremely capable young man, this is an extremely responsible young man. So he would give him duties, and those duties would be taken care of. He would give him responsibilities, and those responsibilities would be taken care of, which of course took more weight off of Mr. O'Rourke's shoulders. I think, and as Will said it, he said that Mr. O almost raised Bill up. It was, yes, there was a student and instructor relationship, but it was almost collegial. Mr. O almost put Bill on the same plane as he did himself. And I think that was something that propelled Bill. And I think, Bill he's well prepared, he's a list maker, he's super organized, but I think working that closely with Mr. O'Rourke all those years ago was something that really helped Bill going further down the road to become a professional stage manager. Okay, summer of...
What's like?
There was one before that, I think.
Yeah. Forum.
Forum.
Yeah.
Can you go back?
One back.
2 back, actually.
22, please.
Okay, so, summer of 1978. Funny thing happened on the way to the forum. That is Bill on the right there under about 3 pounds of old age makeup. He was playing Erroneous, the old man that runs around the 7 hills of Rome. That dashing young blade there in the orange tunic holding the rubber chicken, is myself. I play Hysterium. And Bill, for his performance in that role as Erroneous, received the Beaten Payne Award as Best Supporting Actor in a Musical for that case. Next slide, please. No. Okay, there you go. Shenandoah. Shenandoah. Okay, this is another time when I saw something new about Bill. Just like I had never known that he was going to be a really great comedic performer, this was Bill, triple threat. Triple threat. Singing, dancing, acting, I swear to you, it was amazing to watch what Bill did with that part. Because he was one of the brothers of the main, the sons of the main character. And they had these so many different choreographed moves. Okay, it wasn't Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, but it was a lot of really great choreography. And it was the first time that I had seen Bill as a triple threat. And he approached that role, I thought, with such exuberance, with such enthusiasm, with such energy. It was a delight to watch him every night. I'm the handsome back, you can see who's getting married there. That's me. I had a supporting role, but on the nights when they would get to the parts where they were actually doing the big dance numbers with the brothers, I would stand way back in the bomb and watch them go through their paces. It was a delight to see Bill do that. Though he did say to me on more than one occasion, he had a lot of musical theater experience because he was Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady in his high school musical. Okay, almost done. This story I like to call The Night St. Edward Walked. For many years in the lobby of this theater, right here on the stage, in the lobby of this theater, there was a bust of St. Edward, King and Confessor, as it said at the base of the bust. It was made out of some heavy stone, and it sat on a very narrow, thin, wooden pedestal, and it was about my height, I guess. Also, at this time in this theater, there was a faculty member who had an office in this theater. This particular faculty member was not very well liked, and looking back in hindsight, was really not very well respected. So this individual was certainly primed for something to happen to them. In the spring of 1979, Noel Harrison came to St. Anne's. He was the guest artist in residence for the entire semester. And while Noel was here, he directed some shows, he acted in some shows, and he had a theater workshop. So when it came to the theater workshop, 5 of us, Bill, David Jones, Will Casey, Jeff Belker, and myself got together, and we thought that we would do Act 1 of that championship season. So David directed it, we rehearsed it. When we could, we threw it up together, did it as a workshop production for the theater workshop, got some really good response, and we thought, hey, it's not like our plates aren't full anyway, why don't we do the second and third act, and then for one night only, we will have a show on the stage of that championship season. So David directed the rest of the show, we did our rehearsals, and we gave them a one evening show of that championship season. Now, one of the things about in those days, the main stage production, whatever it was, got the prime rehearsal times, of course. Then a student production after that got the next rehearsal time. And then anything after that, like Barfo or us working on something for a workshop, got the last rehearsal slot, which probably meant our rehearsal started at 11, 12, 1. You were young, you had energy. So if you're at all familiar with that championship season, it's a show that takes place all over one night. The 4 still basketball players who won the state championship, they're there, they're meeting with their coach. And in that one night, they get drunk. And of course, as they get drunk, drama ensues. Well, we decided for one night, for one of our rehearsals, what the heck? Let's see what happens. What discoveries can we make if we actually use real alcohol? So we brought real alcohol to the rehearsal and started having our drinking. Now, this is where someone at some point in time decided, instead of, since memory began, let's just get drunk and let's run the show. So that's what we did. But somewhere along in this, someone decided, well, we need to play a prank. And there's a certain individual we need to play this prank on. Now, this is where Bill becomes central to this plan. Bill had all the keys. to take a walk. So, we went over to the seed shop. Bill unlocked it for us. We went in, we got a dolly, we took it over up to St. Edward, King and Confessor, put him up on the dolly, rolled him down the hallway a little bit, unlocked another door, the office of said faculty member, pushed him in, turned St. Edward around, King and Confessor, and then positioned him in such a way so that when the occupant of that office would come in the next morning, they would open their door and they would be met with King and C. So after that, we locked the door back up. We rolled it all into the scene shop. We locked that up. We went on with our rehearsal. What can I say? We were imps. Acting rather impish. All right. In conclusion, Bill, you always have for me been Mr. Blue Sky. You know, you've been more than a friend to me. You've been more than a brother to me. I don't know if that makes you a brother or a friend. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But you also have done something for me many, many times, which is that you are an extremely responsible person. Before I got married, when my wife and I were courting, I told her if anything ever happened to me, the first person you call is Bill. And after I said that, I thought to myself, well, you know, if anything ever happens to her, the first person I will call is Bill. Bill, you are respected, you are admired, you are trusted, you are loved, and you are cherished. And I can only say it was a lucky day for me